All right, good morning, guys. Today, I'd like to do a review of my Kioti CK2620. The original owner bought it brand new about a year ago, so right around the end of 2024. And so, just want to walk around it, and we're gonna move to a different spot. I'm gonna film this. So let's just show you. I mean, it's been sitting here, and let's just do. I got some notes up there I want to go through. Well, let's do a cold start. I'll just show you how it works. So let's see, it's gonna hit 100 right there, 99.6. See, it's already warm, you saw that. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cold start. Started right up. All right, everyone. So today, I want to take you through my Kioti CK2620. I'll tell you a little bit about like why I bought it, what I use it for, what I like, what I don't like. I got some notes here to go through with you. But just some context for you. So this is the first tractor I've ever owned. I purchased it because about a year ago we bought this property. So it's 15 acres I have here to maintain. And our goals are right now we're raising grass-fed beef. So raising beef and all the things that go into that is one of the main things I use this for. And then processing firewood, I would say, is another big task. We heat our home with 100% wood heat. So this has helped quite a bit, moving logs around, things like that. So yeah, let me tell you about, so what, and mowing, of course. Mowing's another big one, something else I have to do here. So I'll tell you about the purchase and the delivery process. It was fairly easy. I have a Kioti dealer actually like a few miles down the road from here, probably 4 or 5 miles away, and called them up. I said, hey, I'm looking at your different models. They had all of these in stock. They had the 3520 I was looking at, I think the 4520. I didn't know what I needed, but I told them kind of the acreage I have, my experience with tractors, which was none at the time. And yeah, I mean, I settled for, or not settled for, but I said, hey, let's do the 2620. It felt like the best value. It made sense. So I decided, hey, I want the 2620. They got all the paperwork ready. I went in there, I signed. It was super, super easy. And it got delivered 2 weeks later. They had to do some things at the dealer to get it ready, but it got delivered here to my property about 2 weeks later. So that was super easy. One thing, if you've never bought a tractor before, I didn't know you had to have insurance on it. So the insurance got wrapped into my loan. So I didn't know about that. So the loan I have on the tractor was a little bit higher because they put insurance on it. I didn't know you needed insurance on a tractor. Also, at the time of purchase, I wrapped in a bush hog and I wrapped in those pallet forks I'm using. So it came with the bucket, pallet forks, bush hog, and then I later got the fence auger and this box blade off Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, so that's what I got, how I bought it. Let's see, we covered what I'm doing here. So raising beef, fencing. So I use this thing to create all the fence that's on my property right now. So I've got a 4-acre pasture fenced in where my steers are at now. There's no fence there before at all. So every single post, I used the Tractor Supply auger. That thing, it got it done. Honestly, I got the whole 4 acres fenced in. I also did my backyard. Maybe I could put a clip of that, but over that way, I did my backyard, which is a ton more fence posts, probably about a ½ acre backyard. So I did all of that with this, and this saved me a ton of time. Um, moving the concrete around. So I would I'd drive to Lowe's, load up a bunch of concrete, and I'd use the pallet forks to unload the concrete from my truck and then move it to wherever I needed. Um, moving the fence posts themselves, I had 3 bundles of 6-inch wood posts delivered, and I'd go over to that pile, I'd throw like 6 or 7 posts on there, and then drive them out to wherever I needed. That was I needed that, honestly. That was great. So yeah, that's using the forks. The forks I probably use more than anything, honestly. I have the bucket, but I'd say maybe 50-50. I swap them out for the bucket all the time. Bush hog. So like I said, I have a 4-acre pasture. This pasture I'm in here now, I call the Nook. It's like another acre. And then I have another acre over on the other side of my property. So about 6 acres I need to keep mowed. And this thing has been great. I got the 5-foot bush hog, brand new. And so I've gone through 1 season with it so far. That's been great. What else? Yeah, like I said, it gets the job done. Everything I've needed it to do, it's done, to be honest. It keeps my 6 acres mowed. Um, Firewood, I go out in the woods and I'll cut down stuff or process whatever's down on the ground. That I'll usually use the bucket, and I'll fill up the bucket full of rounds, or I'll just split stuff and then I'll drive it over to my wood pile. And I found out, this is a cool metric I learned this year. If I bring a bucket of firewood to my front porch, it lasts me like 3 days. So I'd bring out 2 buckets and it typically get me about a week. And so now I know 2 buckets equals a week. So I thought that was cool. It's really nice to be able to just dump a bunch of firewood on my front porch, and that way I don't have to keep going out with a wheelbarrow to the pile, and my wife can just grab some splits from the front porch. So moving around the logs with the pallet fork is nice. But then I'll switch out for the bucket when I want to move firewood around. Um, Another use I've been using it for the beef is moving round bales. So I only have 2 steers right now, so I only need a round bale every couple of weeks. But I'll go pick up a round bale in my truck. I'll push it out onto the ground, and then I can use the pallet forks and I can move that round bale to wherever I need. And actually, I'm pretty impressed. The the loader, it picks it up, but I wouldn't say it's uh, not struggling. It definitely, I get big 5x5 round bales from a farmer down the road, and you can tell the tractor is straining with those 5x5 round bales, but it moves it. I can pick it up a little bit off the ground, move it to where I need, and then I can get it up high enough to dump into a round bale feeder. So it does what I need to do, but I think if this box blade wasn't on the back of it, there's no way it would be tipping forward. Um, so it feels a little sketchy, 5x5 round bales, but it works. It gets it done. And the other thing I've been doing, since I don't have water trenched out to my pasture yet, so I'll use the pallet forks on a pallet, and I have a 100 gallon trough. I'll fill up that trough on the pallet, and then I'll drive it out to the steers. So without this tractor, I wouldn't be able to get water to the middle of my pasture. I mean, I'm sure there's other ways, but it's pretty easy with this. That doesn't struggle at all. The full 100 gallon trough or 150 gallon. So yeah, so we talked about mowing, it gets it done. Hauling and staging firewood, it gets it done. Round bales, it does it. Um, it's reliable. The reason I bought a brand new tractor is because I didn't want to mess with um, issues. Especially, I don't know anything about tractors, or now I know a little bit, but at the time I was like, should I buy a used tractor or just, get something I know is going to work? And it's been no issues. Like there's nothing to complain about. It's always started. The 50-hour maintenance was easy. Just change the oil filter, and then the hydrostat filter. It was on a bit tight from the factory, so that was I had to drill or hammer a screwdriver through that filter just to get it off. It was very tight, the hydrostat filter from the factory. But maintenance was fairly easy other than that filter. And 4x4 works great. So we're in like mud season right now, and I have a lot of hills on my property. Most of the property is sloping, and one area where I have a road, or I call it a road, more like a path, but it was starting to get quite muddy, and it's on pretty good slope. But I put four by four on, and it got me up no problem, and that was fully loaded with a bucket of wood, so that was good. Now let's talk about some of the downfalls, because overall I'd say it's great, but there's things I already mentioned that you can tell. But the round bales, 5x5 round bales, even the 4x5, it felt heavy, but it that feels like the max on this loader. Lifting it up just enough to drive on the ground, that was okay, but like lifting it up into a round bale feeder and then dumping it over the side, that felt sketchy, definitely. So that's one area where it felt a little underpowered. Another area I feel where I wish I had more horsepower, honestly, is when I'm bush hogging a field that is like pretty overgrown. Um, like when I bought this place, it was completely overgrown, and I was fighting my way through. You have to drive super slow, and that's with the RPMs all the way high. So what would that be? 2,500, 2,400 RPMs. So all the way up on the RPMs, 5 foot bush hog, and mowing. I definitely feel you have to go slow or it'll bog down, it'll stall out. So you got to be careful on the really tall stuff. Now, if it's like not very tall or it's all dead and it's really dry, then you can just go right through it. But if it has any moisture in it, if it's up to here and you're driving through bush hogging, which standard, but I do feel it bogging down for sure. So that's a time where I wish it had more, so I could get the field done a little faster. My 4 acres, it'll take me 3 or 4 hours to get through. Um, so what's that? About an hour an acre. So yeah. Um, let's see. Mowing slow. Going up hills, you feel it like it wants to stall out sometimes, even in higher RPMs over 2,000. Going uphill, like I said, my whole property is hills. So you gotta slow down and let it go. Another area where sometimes I'm like, dang, I wish I had more horsepower was probably when I was building all the fencing, the auger. The auger would get stuck if you're not really careful. You really got to keep an eye on it. Um, we have some pretty hard clay here, but even in the spring when it's softer, you can feel the auger, like, not that it's maxing out, but like you can't just drill straight down. That's not going to happen. And when it gets stuck, it's kind of a pain in the butt because you got to turn the tractor off, and then you got to like feather the clutch out to try to lift the PTO, and then or lift the lift arms up when you're stuck in the ground. So it does get stuck. The fence auger got stuck a few times. Could be operator error, but I feel like if there were more horsepower, it would get through that. Um, in another place, one gripe I have is that when I'm shifting, so you shift, it's just 3 gears. It's high, medium, or low. 90% of the time I'm using medium. when you get off the tractor, you got to put it in park. You got to put the parking brake on and shift out of gear, or the tractor shuts off. Which that sucks. I think that's standard, but you get used to it. But when I get back on the tractor and I want to go into gear, I put it in medium. Sometimes it'll stick. It doesn't want to come out of neutral. And what the guy who delivered the tractor actually told me, you need to feather the forward or reverse pedal, and it will like align the gear somehow. I don't know, but that happens quite often where going from neutral to medium gear, it doesn't want to go in. But you just tap the forward pedal, and whatever happens, it aligns and it'll slip into medium. But I wish it didn't do that. That's a gripe, but it's real. Another thing, there's not really any storage on the thing. Like you see, I got a bucket up there on the back that I'll just hang from the ROPS, and so I'll just throw a bucket on here, and I guess it works. But there's one cup holder, and then there's a tiny little weird little cubby, but there's not really room to put anything. So that's a little annoying. And then one other thing, I wish there was a light on the dash for when you're in 4x4. It doesn't do that. It just like there's just a lever that you have to hit up or down, and I always get confused. I don't know if up means 4x4 or down means 4x4, so I always kind of forget. I just wish there was a light on the dash that told you. And then something I would recommend, I did a ton of research before I bought this thing, and I ignored my own research, but I probably would have added the third function so I could get the grapple, because I have some land out that way I want to clear. And I mean, you can do some work with the pallet forks and even a little bit of the box blade or a little bit of the bucket. But if I had a grapple, I could get a lot more done. And I know you can DIY, put on a third function after, but it looks kind of like a pain. I wish I just did it from the factory. I think it's like $1,000 or from the dealer. So, yeah, if you're thinking about this tractor, just pay for the third function, because I'm here, a year later, and I'm like, it'd be nice to buy a grapple, but I don't want to go through all that. So, so yeah, overall, it's been a great tractor. It, um, I haven't really thrown a task at it that it can't do. I think it just is a little bit slower at some tasks when I want it to be faster. Like I said, bush hogging, it'll bog down. The fence post auger, it'll bog down. Going up hills, it bogs down. But if you have the patience, it'll do all those things. I keep 6 acres mowed. I've built 4 acres of fence, and it's helped with all of those things. So I think overall, the big question is like, would I buy it again? And probably, like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I wish I just got the 50 horsepower. But then I look at the price of the 50 horsepower, and I'm like, I think I'm good with my 26, because it gets everything I really need to do done. I think paying that much more for the 50 horsepower, I don't know if it would be worth it for me right now, because I think you could do most of the same things, you just do it faster, a little easier. But if you're price conscious, which I am, I mean, we all are, this gets everything done. So yeah, I mean, 100 hours, 100 hours in 1 year. I've lived through different seasons with this tractor now, through the summer, through this winter. And yeah, I'd say, without this tractor, I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of what I've done on this property. So I'd say it was a good purchase. And I hope this video helps you guys when you're looking at different models, and, the whole, should I get a Kubota or Kioti? I guess I'll answer that. I mean, I never I never had a Kubota, but what else do I need? This thing gets it done. And I think it was like a 10K price difference. I would buy this again. So it's been great, literally no issues, and I'm happy with the purchase for sure. So, all right, let me know if you have any questions about this tractor. I can film uh, and try to answer any specific questions. Maybe like how a starter guide, because I know I would have liked one of those. Like, how do you use a tractor? I could do that. So, let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.